Hello! Today I want to introduce you to my sewing machine. One of the most asked questions I get on Instagram is, what is the red machine? Ever since I was at uni and I first bought it, I've had questions of this machine, so I thought I'd do a video on my Toyota Oekaki Renaissance. The machine has a free motion embroidery option, function on it. To me, this machine is quite unique and special. I've never used anything quite like it before. I was really lucky whilst I was at university that they did a demo for us and we could have a go on the machine, and from then that was it. I fell in love with it. I was used to Bernina's industrial machines and Janomi's at university. However, as soon as they demoed this, I sort of knew I was going to get one. And it was only when my sewing machine at the time, my domestic one, died quite dramatically during my placement year, so about 3 years ago, that I decided to actually do it and take the plunge and buy the machine. It was between this and a Bernina, I'll be honest, because Bernina's are up there, but they are in price as well. I know that they last, and I know people buy second-hand ones and they have them serviced and everything's well, but me and this machine just clicked, so that's why I ended up getting this one. I'm a bit of a tech geek. As much as I love historical stuff and accuracy, I do love my tech, and it's mainly computer driven in the sense of you don't need one to plug into it, but the onboard computer tells you when things are wrong. It tells you what needs doing to it, a bit like your car computer, and it pops up saying that, oh, your engine warning light's on or your handbrake's still on. One of the common things I have with this machine, I don't know if it's just me or if it's the placement of it, but there's a lever just there which is for your buttonhole. And when I'm sewing with multiple layers and quite thick layers and also quite awkward garments, that will sometimes be slightly caught, and it only needs to be a sort of millimetre, and the warning light will come on the machine and it won't sew until that is fully up, because otherwise if it's fully down it'll think it'll be sewing a buttonhole. There's other warning lights and things that come on, but luckily I've not really experienced those. I think there's a one where if you've not put your presser foot down, a warning light comes on. There's just a multitude of warning lights. Apart from that, I've not actually experienced any other problems with this machine. It is just so easy to use. I also like how it is different from other machines. It feels a bit sort of 60s futuristic spaceman effect. You know, I've got the red one, but they do a teal, a black, I think they even brought out a yellow one, but the sort of smoothness of it, I just like the aesthetic as well. The look of it is really nice. It makes my desk look a bit more fancy. The reason I don't have an industrial machine is because I can't really warrant buying one. So not only is the price point extortionately high even for a second-hand one, maintaining it, fixing it, servicing it, all those sort of things can become costly in the long run. And also I don't have the space I've got both my machines on this desk. I've got this machine and then I've got my overlocker on the other side, and I don't do that many commissions in the sense that it would warrant me needing an industrial machine. I find that this one gets through all the layers and the fabrics that I've sewn with. I've made corsets with it. I've partly sewn my final year university garments with it. Obviously the majority of those costumes were done on the industrial machines at uni, but for, you know, homework or extra work that I put onto myself, sewing with this, it was no bother. This machine has survived quite a lot in the sense that it has been through my final year of university, and then moving from uni to back home, and then from my mum's house into my house. So it's been through quite a lot in the sense that it did come back to and forth from uni with me quite a few times. In this video as well, I'll be going through the free motion machine embroidery function. I really love it, to be honest. It's really special. I've not taken advantage of it as much as what I should have done, if I'm honest, in the sense that when obviously uni was massive, really busy, and then straight after moving back from uni and graduating, a couple of months later we bought the house, so then we had to move, and then I've had several different projects since then which just don't require it, so I haven't taken advantage of it really, and now I'm just getting into it. So I will be doing more videos on the machine embroidery once I'm up to scratch, because it does take practice, but I'm getting there. The more practice that you do and the more often that you do it, the better you'll become. And even figuring out, there's only 3 functions with the motion embroidery, but it's getting used to all those 3 functions and using the machine to its full advantage and manipulating it so that you can get the most out of it. This is the machine with it switched off. As you can see, we have the menu, a sort of flip book of tips and stitches, different ways of how to change the feet, about the special free machine embroidery motion, and basically your go-to options. That's really handily. It comes off, it just slots in the back there in the sort of handle of the machine, so that's just at the back there. So we're going to thread the machine up just now. I'm just going to show you how quickly that is done, as well as filling in a bobbin. So you just pop, like on any machine really, and then there's a slot at the top there, and then I just like to wind a little bit on by hand. Slot it on that pin there and then slide it across. Turn the machine on, and as you can see on the screen, it's just making a circular motion to show the bobbin is about to be wound. And then we just press the foot pedal and it winds. When the bobbin is fully wound, this stopper does actually stop the machine from winding, so that you don't have to, so you don't sort of overfill your bobbin. We are going to thread the machine up now. So I've just cheekily, there's a little blade on the side of the machine here where you can cut your thread, so I've just detached the bobbin and the thread from the main thread bobbin. So we go up around the pin and then follow it down, round, up, hook onto the hook at the top, and then down and round the hook at the bottom. There we have it. So then to thread the needle, I usually use this clever gadget here. So this is a needle threader, and I think it's really cool. So I'm going to try and do this one-handed. So basically you hook the thread in there, get the tension, and then you hook it in there we go, and then it pulls it through the eye of the needle. Now with the bobbin, I'm just going to unravel that a little bit. So with the bobbin, we just slide this, take it out, put it in like so, and then there is a slot where the thread goes through like so, and then we turn the wheel. You hear, because I've wound the bobbin, that the feet are then activated as well. You grab hold of this thread or just pull it a bit looser. There we go, there's the feet. Just pull that. This is really hard to do one-handed. So there we go. So the top thread then grabs hold of the bottom. And we can pull it just like the loop of thread from the underneath up to the top there. And then slide that back on. And that is how you thread this machine. With this machine you get a selection of accessories. So if I just go into the compartment there, so one thing I will be talking about is the free motion embroidery. We'll be using this foot here. You get a bag of needles, other feet, you know, the usual stuff. So I'm just going to grab the little sort of tool, pop that back on, and then it's the screw on the left of the needle that you undo. So just turn that. Sometimes you have to pull the lever foot a bit higher, so the lever foot is on the right hand side there, and then you just simply pull that away. Just screw the embroidery foot on. There, that's all attached now. You can use this with a hoop on for the tension of the fabric, so as an embroidery hoop. But also, depending on what fabric you're using, you can actually use it without. I'm just going to quickly use it without for now. All you have to do, so I'm going to just flip up to the section where it says Oekaki. I hope I'm saying that right. There's a switch at the very underneath at the back of the machine that's sometimes quite hard to find, and then you slide that across, and that click means that the feet are now down. So when you're sewing, the feet help guide the fabric through the machine, whereas you want to be able to move your fabric any which way now, and the feet being down helps you to do that. I'm just going to select the button. So that green button means that the embroidery function is on. You've got your different stitches. A1 is basically a reflection of the stitch menu on the top there. So if I select different things, the needle will move to different places basically. A1, just going to pop this on here, put the foot down. So when I press the pedal, unlike other machines, this one, it doesn't control the speed, it controls the stitch width. If I go with the A1 and I just feed it through like so, lift the foot up, pull it away, use the blade to catch the thing. As you can see, that is A1. It's basically like a zigzag stitch. The closer you do it together, the more satin stitch it'll look. I'm just going to loosen the tension a bit actually. By clicking the menu button, you can select the stitch width. So at the minute it's on 5, which is the widest, but you can go thinner. And then speed, it's on 6. For embroidery, I tend to leave it at 6. You can go up to 10. 10 is the quickest, but I prefer to stick at around 6 or 7, just so that you're not getting the bunching of the fabric. The stitch width I'm just going to make a little bit smaller, just at about 4. See how we get on with that. And on my fabric I've just got some motifs there, so I've got some text and I've got a fleur-de-lis as well. The foot is already down, You can put your needle down first before you start stitching, just to anchor, just to get a more accurate starting point. So I've not cut all the threads off, but as you can see, the smiling looks pretty good, I reckon. To say that I'm massively out of practice with this machine in embroidery, I mean, because I've not had many commissions or any commissions where I've required to use the machine. And over lockdown, obviously with doing the 17th century mittens, which are all done by hand, I thought I just want a day practicing free machine, which you can see is pretty cool once you get used to the fact that the foot controls the zigzag length rather than the speed like every other machine. Then it's pretty quick to get used to, really. And obviously if you are a bit unconfident, you can make it slower. So just to deactivate, I'm just gonna press that button again, and then we're back into normal sewing. When you're sewing, you know, using the normal sewing function, you've got your menu up here with your stitches, and then if you click the menu button on the actual machine, you can select the stitch length and the width of the zigzag, and then the speed. So the machine defaults to 6 speed for normal sewing as well. You can turn it up when you're normal sewing, so I like to put it up to 10 when I'm doing a basic running stitch. I've been making masks for friends and family recently, and I've been just using it at speed 10 because it's only like the 3 seams that I've got to sew. That's really helpful in the sense that when you're sewing normally and you've got a really tricky outline to sew, or you're top stitching, or you just need that extra bit of concentration or control, you can put your foot down to the floor, but you know you're only going to reach a certain speed, so that's one less thing to worry about. I think that's a really handy tool, because I sometimes make really small things, and sometimes going quickly you need that control to go around all the curves and everything. Now I hope you and my sewing machine are well acquainted, that you enjoyed this video and found it a little bit useful in just finding out about one of my machines. I've really enjoyed having a bit of a mess around on it this morning, and now I'm going to get back to mask making. So thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, please hit the like button. Leave a comment of any questions that you might have about the machine, and I'll answer them best I can. And I'll also leave links to my Instagram, website, all the rest of it down below as usual. Thank you for watching.